Monday market update. My name is Caleb, and let's look at the numbers for Lancaster, Berks, York, Lebanon, and Dauphin. So to start things off, let's start with Lancaster. So Lancaster, pretty similar numbers to what we've been seeing over the past couple weeks. It's lower than last week. Last week, available inventory was at 380. This week, as you can see, it's at 359. But it is still higher than some of the other weeks we've seen in March. The second week of March was 332. So we're still pretty similar to what we were seeing during the month of March. Average days on market for Lancaster right now is 7 days. There are 19 coming soon and 97 new active. So the coming soon new active a little bit less than what we've seen the past 2 weeks, but still higher than what we saw the second week of March. So that's good news. For Berks, the available inventory there is 289. Last week it was 278, so up a little bit. Average days on market still the same, 6 days. And there are 27 coming soon and 84 new active for Berks. And those numbers are a little bit higher than what we saw the week previous. There's only 21 coming soon and 73 new active. For York, the available inventory there is 510. That's down from last week, which was 520, but still pretty close to what we were seeing the other weeks of March. First week of March was 514, second week was 503, third week was 513, so we're still pretty close to what we were seeing over the entire month of March. Average days on market is still the same as the week previous, 6 days average on the market. And then there are 19 coming soon, 104 new active. Those are slightly down from the week previous, but still pretty close to what we've seen over the course of March. For Lebanon, the available inventory there is 101. That's down from the 106 we saw last week. Average days on market still at 6 days. And there are 9 coming soon, 30 new active. And those numbers are slightly higher than what we saw the week previous. Lastly, for Dauphin, the available inventory there is 278. That's down from the 285 that we saw last week. Average days on market is 5 days. Last week, average days on market was 6 days. And then over the course of March for Dauphin, it ranged anywhere from 7 to 15 days. And of course, that's just taking into account what's gone pending and how many days that was on the market. For coming soon, there's 24 and 53 new active for Dauphin. Now let's look at pending, closed, and then also median home price as well. So for Lancaster, as you can see there are 126 currently pending and 126 as well that have closed within the past 7 days. Of those 126, those ranged in price from $50,000 to $1.4 million, which makes the median home price a little over $272,000. And that's for Lancaster. For Berks, there are currently 105 that are pending and 131 units that have closed within the past 7 days. Those ranged in price from $13,400 to just under $900,000, which makes the median home price for Berks $253,900, so almost $254,000. Those numbers are pretty close to what we saw last week. A little bit more has closed within the past 7 days than what we saw last week, but still the number of pending units is still on par for what we've been seeing. For York, the pending units there is 143. And there have been 155 that have closed within the past 7 days. Of those 155 that closed, those ranged in price from $59,900 to $850,000, which makes the median home price for York $251,000, right on the money there. For Lebanon, there are currently 34 that are pending, 36 that have closed within the past 7 days. Of those 36, those ranged in price from 60,000 to 467,000, which makes the median home price there for Lebanon 178,000. And again, the median home price just taking into account what's closed within the past 7 days. So as we evaluate it from week to week, the median home price is going to fluctuate based on what's been closing. For Dauphin has 77 units that are currently pending, 107 that have closed within the past 7 days. Of those 107 that have closed, those ranged in price from 15,000 to 1.49 million, which makes the median home price there for Dauphin 219,500. And again, that's just over what's closed in the past 7 days. Lastly, we're going to look at what's been expired, withdrawn, or canceled, and then also the number that have had price reductions as well. So for Lancaster, there were 34 that were expired, withdrawn, or canceled, and then there were 15 that had price reductions. Price reductions, that's a little bit less than what we saw last week. Last week, there were 18 that had price reductions. For Berks, there were 30 that were expired, withdrawn, or canceled, and then there were 12 that had price reductions. For price reductions, that's up. Last week, there was 11 that had price reductions, so we're up 1. And then for York, there were 33 that were expired, withdrawn, or canceled. And then there were 27 that had price reductions. That is down from the previous week, which we saw 45. And that is the 45 from the previous week was probably more so an indicator that it was just the end of the month. And so typically at the end of the month, that's when you reevaluate listings for pricing and other things like that. And so that's probably why we saw a higher number of price reductions last week as opposed to this week where there were only 27. So not necessarily a significant indicator of where the market's heading, just the fact that it was the end of the month last week. For Lebanon, there were 6 expired, withdrawn, or canceled, and then there were 5 that were expired, withdrawn, or canceled, and then there were 6 that had price reductions. Previous week also had 6 price reductions as well. And then lastly, for Dauphin, there were 35 that were expired, withdrawn, or canceled, and then there were 21 that had price reductions, and again, that is 4. So those are the numbers here for Lancaster, Berks, York, Lebanon, and Dauphin. I hope that this is a great start to your week and that you have a wonderful day. Enjoy the sunshine.